This is a message to all my supporters of this podcast. I'm introducing a new supporters program. You can contribute a small amount as a one-off payment to show your love for this podcast. Thank you in advance for all your contributions.
Hi, my name is Mark Hayward. This is the Absolute Business Mindset podcast, and here are some of my thoughts, ideas and comments. So I'm just going to talk about some thoughts of mine which I think are incredibly important. It's important for you to be able to think about them and sort of mull them over and sort of take the best ones. I think a lot of these things really are kind of common sense, but a lot of them are missed or muddied in the water with other things. So first thing that I want to talk to you about is listening. So you need to be able to listen to others before making these sorts of decisions on business, whether that is a mentor, whether that is a peer, whether that is just someone that you trust. It's critically important that you listen to others. Now, in certain situations, if you're the leader, it's difficult to not always to be able to speak to other people and consult because you want to be the leader. But I would argue that it is critically important to have a mentor, at least someone that can give you that perspective. Take that step back and not get caught in negative behaviours or spiralling of sort of negative decisions that you make. So critically important to listen to others and be open to other people's views. So it is important, and I think you should basically always have someone. Could be a wife, could be a partner, could be a friend or a colleague. There's there's lots of different avenues that you can go through, but I do think you need someone to be able to bounce ideas off when you're making these sorts of decisions. I'd equally say that don't be rash with making decisions. Take your time, take a step back, think. Don't be emotionally driven when you're making decisions. It is invariably going to make poor decisions if you're rash and you don't think things through. So it would be important for me that as someone that's in business, that you take that time to think about things and stop the emotions driving you. You need to think with your head, with your cognitive brain, rather than purely on your emotions. Emotions can help. Emotions do make good decisions, but you equally have to not make that spiral of constantly bad decisions by making rash decisions. Third point I want to talk about is about sales, rather than profitability. You always make better if you increase sales. Now, there is margins that you can make and make yourself more profitable, but you will find yourself as being a more better business if you increase your sales. Now, there's obviously some clients that are better for you and profitable, and there is a tricky balance that you need to make between clients that take a lot of effort, time and money that are not that profitable. And there's a lot in sort of entrepreneurs that say sack clients. I'm not, as a corporate employee, I wouldn't really ever promote sacking clients, but I like the idea of being able to think about what your profitable clients are and what the great sales that you need to make to keep the business going. I would say that the worst of times is often your strongest and your most resilient times. Everyone needs to go through bad times, and it's how you respond to them. That is the most important thing, and that is critical, absolutely critical, because you don't realise at the time, or let's just say often you don't realise at the time that these hard times are what makes you strong and makes you really be able to make good decisions. I went through a period recently with a really bad time with a client, and I was aware that this was going to make me stronger. This was going to make me have better work practices. This was going to make me think about my client and other clients, and it would really, really, really make me into a better businessman. And I think that has happened. It's a constant at the moment. There's a constant being able to make it a better relationship. And equally that just like thinking about your clients and thinking about what's best for them is really, really important, critically important. So if you're going through a bad time at the moment and you're thinking, this is never going to end, I will tell you, it does end. It always ends, whether it's in a good way or a bad way. You lose the client, or you turn it around and you make the client profitable and increase sales. You sell them something different. There's always opportunities, but I think you need to learn from your mistakes, learn from things that happen that are negative, because you don't realise how big these things are until after they're finished, and you realise, oh wow, I really made a really good choice or a really bad choice at that critical time. So always think about making yourself stronger, more resilient, and often the bad times are those times. Now, something that happens in corporate, which less happens in entrepreneur, is you don't want to get too big too quickly. As a corporate environment, you want to grow steadily, double digit, great. 50% growth, it's a bit worrying. Like, are we growing too big? Is it too fast, too quickly? And could there be downtimes when things change, when economic conditions change? So growing steadily is really, for a corporate company, is basically where you want to be at. And I would say entrepreneurs can constantly grow at high rates, like 50%. But once you get to a certain size, it can be slightly unmanageable. So keep an eye out for that. You should never compromise your excellence on sales. Sales is really important. Business development is really important, and marketing and finding the right clients and keeping the right clients. And you should never compromise your excellence, because that is what you're selling. You're selling quality. My company sells quality, sells confidence in us, and we want to be able to deliver the best that we can. And therefore you should never compromise those. Quality, for me, or for our business, quality is more important than timeframes. I prefer to deliver a little bit late but make it 100% than deliver something 80% and there being mistakes in that you get on time. Now that is a very corporate environment mentality, and I know a lot of people will just be like, just get it done, get it out. You can work on it as you go along, you can iterate as you go along, where for a big corporate, excellence, quality, high standards are what you deal in, and that gives clients confidence that you've got that high quality and you will not sacrifice that for anything. So I would say critically important to never compromise your standards. And I would say last thing is to know your goals and ambitions. So I've kind of jumped around between corporate and entrepreneur, but you need to set yourself goals, and you need to be able to be ambitious and keep driving for success. You should have long-term goals and probably short-term goals, sort of medium-term goals. So I would say you need long-term goals, which is like 5-10 years. You want medium-term goals, which is like 1 year, and then short-term goals, maybe like a quarter. Now, it's incredibly important to have these in your life. You need to set yourself these standards that are able to be hugely successful. So I've covered this lots of times, setting goals, and I would say it's of critical importance that everyone sets themselves goals, keeps yourself ambitious, keep yourself driving forward. Always moving forward is always the best way. All right, this is the Absolute Business Mindset podcast. I am on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify. I'd love you to leave me a comment, what you think was good, what you didn't like. Equally, if you've enjoyed this, please tell someone. friend, colleague, family member, whatever. Tell someone that you really enjoyed it and you should listen to it. There's a backlog on all the platforms of my past podcasts, so I would definitely encourage you to review some of them. It's great to get more viewers, more listeners. On Twitter, Mark Hayward on Twitter. YouTube has got a bunch of short videos that talk about some of my ideas and my thoughts, and really look forward to speaking to you again. Thank you very much.